Hi, and welcome to week 3 of the class. This week we'll be discussing culture and society. So these two terms are very much interrelated. They're used frequently and defined rarely, right? We use culture and society as sort of these all-encompassing words. So when we talk about culture and sociology, we're really referring to the norms and values of a people, right? And this could be a mainstream culture, a subculture, but it's a body of people who have some values and norms shared in common. The values could be more abstract concepts, sort of like a religion or a code of ethics, and the norms are more like things that we do on a day-to-day basis that are considered appropriate within the society. So I have a quick video to show you. It's an HSBC ad. And it's just a sort of comical look at how norms can be different among different cultures.
Ciao, Sofia.
Sorry.
Niente.
Sorry.
Prego. State zitto.
Sorry. Hi.
Ciao.
Can I help you with your bags?
Sì. Grazie.
In Italy, different flowers have different meanings. Chrysanthemums, for example, are associated with funerals and sadness. At HSBC, we never underestimate the importance of local knowledge. HSBC, the world's local bank.
Okay, so that sort of gives us a sort of funny look at how norms can be different in different cultures, right? This British or Irish man, he's giving this girl flowers because he thinks, in his culture at least, that's a sign of affection. Whereas in her culture in Italy, those particular flowers were not appropriate as a sign of affection, but rather as a symbol of mourning. So that just kind of helps you understand a little concrete example of what norms mean to a society, what they mean for a culture. Another big topic in this chapter is nature versus nurture. So nature refers more to your sort of genetic predispositions, and nurture refers to your environment, the society you're growing up in, your family, how you were raised. So the book touches on it in this chapter. We're not really going to discuss nature versus nurture too much right now, but it will come in later, especially when we're talking about gender. So make sure you pay attention to that section in the reading, and you might need to refer back to it in a few weeks' time. Globalization is another big topic in this chapter, and that's what one of your discussion board posts will be focused on. And especially what's interesting in this edition of the textbook is that they've added a little short piece on the effects of the internet on globalization and how that's speeding the process up. So globalization was sort of first talked about in Gemeinschaft und Gesellschaft, which is a German book that was written in 1887 by Ferdinand Tönn. His name is down here if you're interested and want to look up some more about this. So Gemeinschaft und Gesellschaft translates directly into community and society. And this book is actually translated into English if you have further interest. So by community, he means he's in 1887, right? And he's seeing industrialization and urbanization happening around him. Like I mentioned last week, this is sort of the beginnings of sociology and a real turning point in modern society. So he's looking at Gemeinschaft, culture, community, as sort of these old-time ties between people, and as a way of life that he sees is sort of losing ground. These more familial connections, relationships based on kinship and proximity. And then Gesellschaft is society, so he's seeing this turn towards more rationalization, as Weber would have characterized it. Relationships between people based more on laws, on moral codes, than on kinship basis. Okay, so he sort of gives us the first inkling of globalization. He's seeing that society is becoming a more widespread, a more rationalized thing than community had been in previous times. So he's seeing this shift, and we can relate globalization now to that sort of shift. We're not seeing as much individual cultures anymore. We're seeing a more homogenized culture worldwide. McDonald's and Starbucks are everywhere you go, right? So Ferdinand Toys was considerably ahead of his time there. Okay, so for this week, what you have is to post on the discussion board and to post on the ePortfolio. So you'll be reading Chapter 3, which is the Culture and Society chapter in the textbook. Again, if you need any more details, you can check out the PowerPoint in the materials folder. There's a link down here to the discussion board. And also, please note that the ePortfolio assignment it's the same one as from week 2. So you have 2 weeks to complete this assignment. It's due up on ePortfolio this coming Sunday, the 15th. So it's the same one as last week, no new ePortfolio for this week. And the discussion board post, you can choose from 2 again. You can either discuss globalization, the positive and negative effects of it, or you can discuss subcultures. So I've linked here to a list of subcultures on Wikipedia, and you can choose any subculture that you're interested in discussing, or if you know of another subculture that you want to talk about, just include a link in your post so that people can refer to it. And you're just going to discuss what that subculture means, what are the values and norms of that subculture, and how does it relate to the more mainstream culture or society in America. When you're doing your before you do your discussion board posts, I want to make sure that everybody takes a look at the discussion board rubric, which is in information. So the discussion board rubric reminds you that the initial comments are due on Thursdays, so in this case Thursday, September 12th, and then you have to have 2 additional comments on your peers' posts by Sunday, September 15th. So for full credit, you need to make your own original post and then have a meaningful discussion with your peers on the discussion board. So this counts as your class participation, and it's a big chunk of your final grade. So you're going to want to review the guidelines in the rubric and make sure that when you're posting on the discussion board, that your posts are informed by, yes, your personal opinion, but it needs to be backed up by readings from the text, outside readings that you want to link us to, and themes from the course. Okay, so it's important to incorporate those 2 aspects. You need to have an opinion in this course. You need to, but it needs to be informed, right? So it needs to be informed by the text and by the readings, and then you make an educated response to the discussion board prompts. So I'm really looking forward to this week's discussion. Globalization is usually a very interesting topic, and so are subcultures. So I'm sure that we'll have some good responses. Next week, I'm going to post Essay 1, and you'll have 2 weeks to complete that. And other than that, I think we're good for this week. So again, have a great week, and I will see you on the discussion board.